Still sharing?
Yep, I'm ready. Good evening, welcome to the Brew. You're listening to the Brew on TIVN. It's Sunday night, August 30th, almost into the month of September. Oh, I can't believe summer's going by so damn fast. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I'm kind of ready for fall, but yet we didn't have much of a summer because most of our summer up here just rained and rained. And that just kind of bites because we have a pool, we want to go swimmers. But anyways, more than that, before we get started, we'd like you to support our following groups that support us and all that we do. TUF, Truckers United for Freedom with John, Sovereign Roads with Ron Stinson, Truckers Back to Blue with John, and then we have Truckers Final Mile with Robert Palm, which is a great group, and if you guys can get some donations to him, that is awesome. If you want to know more about these groups, you can contact me. Real Women in Trucking with Desiree Woods.
If you want to know more about these groups, you can contact
my
me.
phone. Sorry, guys.
Real Women in
Sorry, guys. It's terrible. Yeah, Real Women with Desiree. Desiree is really busy. She's got a lot of things going on. She's really quite the driver's advocate, not just for women, but for everybody. She really puts herself out there, so give her a shout out. She Trucking, they're doing a great job. She's really on top of everything with what's going on in her group. And also then we have Trucks with Room to Spare. And right now, with the hurricane, she might really need some help. So if you guys can give a shout out to her, go on her website. I'm sure they have pamphlets, they have all kinds of things going on. Give them help because they're going to need help with this hurricane. It's a stage 4 hurricane and it's inland right now down in Louisiana. So, and all you drivers out there that are and around that, please be safe. Hurricanes are really nothing to fool with. We've all been there. Take care of yourself and your trucks.
I heard that there's a possibility that the oil rig broke loose too.
Oh no, that would be terrible. I haven't read that yet. I haven't seen any extra news on that hurricane.
There was some talk about it, so maybe some news you might be seeing. I'm not sure yet.
Oh my goodness. Well, tonight we have interesting because of the hurricane. If you know my witch sisters, Miss Patty and Miss Baby Doll, they're off on their brooms. Hopefully they won't get into any trouble because tomorrow will be my first day back at school, so I am not going out there in no bad weather. And they're just gonna have to figure it out for themselves. Especially Baby Doll. She always gets in trouble in storms. I don't know what to say about that one. And I'm sure Nurse Patty is following her around because she knows Baby Doll's going to get in trouble, one way or the other. But that's enough of that. If you guys can hear me, call in. But we know those two girls. Now some of this week's trucking news is pretty interesting. This is on safety. Rocket scientists say they found the solution to semi-truck rollovers. Startup Axle Engineering has a fifth wheel prototype that its founder said can detach and detect a trailer from a Class 8 tractor before it rolls over. Hey, Sean. Keeping the driver safe in the cab. A team of trucking outsiders made up of rocket science and automotive engineers are working on a fifth wheel solution to reduce the death and injuries caused by a Class 8 truck and trailer rollovers in the U.S. Large truck rollers killed more than 300 people in 2019, Another 9,000 people are injured in the Class 8 truck rolls in the U.S. every year, according to the Insurance Institute for Higher Safety. Mechanical engineer Steve Krug, a former Telsa engineer with a background in aerospace engineering, founded Axle Engineering to reduce highway deaths and injuries. His company's fifth-wheel trailer anti-roll system TARS senses a tractor-trailer rollover before it happens and detaches the trailer from the tractor, allowing it to roll over on its own while keeping the truck driver safe inside the cab. Our impression of the Axle fifth-wheel prototype is that that is an absolute game changer for the transportation industry, Ryan Scott says. He's a risk manager with Kaiser Millennium Levitt Insurance, and as he told us to the American Trucker, it can protect the two most important assets for a fleet owner. First and foremost, the driver, from potentially devastating injuries or loss of life from a turnover accident. Secondly, the cab itself, which is an expensive item to replace or repair after a rollover accident. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, Kirk was struggling to find a new job. He got together with some former Telsa colleagues who had worked on the Telsa Semi project. We became aware that rollovers were an issue in the trucking industry and an unsolved problem. Krug told American Trucker, so we just started brainstorming on how we could solve it. That brainstorming started with conceptualizing an entirely new design for tractor-trailers that would prevent rollovers. But then we figured out that we could actually have a universal product that can be retrofitted or easily installed onto every single semi-truck that eliminates rollovers in the first place. Axle engineering team, which includes SpaceX and Tesla veterans, developed the Axle fifth wheel, which uses a series of sensors to constantly monitor the roll angle and rate of the tractor. Brett said his algorithm could detect a tractor thresholds limit with a 99.99% accuracy. Hey, that's better than the COVID shot. And within 0.2 milliseconds of detecting a tractor rollover, the axle system set off a controlled pyrotechnic actuator that opens the fifth wheel latch, decoupling the trailer from the truck, allowing it to tip over while the truck stays upright. A demonstration can be seen, and you can go see this if you go into trucker.com. You can see that whole video, and it's really quite interesting. This axle has two pending patents already covering the fifth wheel's release mechanism, hardware, software controls, and trailer aerodynamics. It is currently trying to raise $10 million Series A funding to back an initial production run of 10,000 units. If all goes to plan, Kirk anticipates producing about 80,000 fifth wheels per year. Axle is also working on a public demonstration of the technology later this year at the Mojave Air and Spaceport, which would involve driving a tractor-trailer behind a jet wing blast to validate the fifth wheel's technology. I'd like to see that. That'd be pretty interesting. Krug note that the heavy-duty truck rollers account for about $3.5 billion in estimated insurance payments per year. Krug sees a big potential market among 2 million Class 8 trucks in operation across the U.S. We have potentially high margins. It is a low-risk tech from a technical standpoint and a super high-addressed market, which makes it very attractive for venture capitalists. Krug said he already had about 30 million in pre-orders for the fifth wheel, which sells for about $4,000 each. Those roughly 7,500 orders were made through Levitt Insurance in the past month. Levitt Scott said he partnered with Krug because fewer rollover accidents mean more lives saved. That's the goal of this fifth wheel partnership. Scott explained the product could change how truck insurance is underwritten. Trucks with the axle fifth wheel installed will qualify for mailing discounts, what we call in the air insurance business scheduled credits, for both the auto physical damage cover and for workers' comp coverage. He said we are anticipating is that when the scheduled credits are applied correctly, the insurance premium discounts will pay for the cost of the fifth wheel itself in less than 3 years. We at Levitt have negotiated these scheduled credits with 15 of the leading truck insurance carriers in the world, including Lloyd's Syndicate in London. We're very excited to see the results of this. Other than a couple of very small fleets, said that he has yet to approach fleet directly about this new technology. All of us are outsiders in trucking, which might be a good thing. because a lot of the innovations come from outsiders. I have zero connections to trucking, and he says he doesn't even know a trucker. I have a friend who has a cousin who is a trucker, and he said, this is awesome, the trucker said. He would definitely buy this, especially if it saves his vehicles and then also end up making him money in the long run. Pretty interesting, huh? I thought that was very interesting. If that actually comes to power, you know? Now, once again, every week for the last 3 weeks, we had a seizure. Now, cocaine seizure at the U.S.-Canadian border leads to criminal charges against the driver. Agents with the Canadian Border Service Agency found 183 pounds of suspected cocaine hidden in a commercial truck. The driver faces charges by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. This happened in Port Edward, Ontario, Canada. Charges have been filed against the driver of a commercial truck following the seizure of 183 pounds of cocaine. On August 9th, a commercial truck driven by 46-year-old Budrup Singer Maki, can't even say his name, a Brenhampton, Ontario, entered Canada from the U.S. at the Blue Water Bridge in Port Edward. The truck was referred for a secondary inspection where CBSAF is found and seized approximately 183 pounds of suspected cocaine. The CBS arrested this driver and transferred him and the suspected cocaine into the custody of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who are conducting the investigation. The RCMP has changed mandate with an importation of a controlled substance in possession for the purpose of trafficking. He said, and then they said, we are very proud of our officers in the front line who tirelessly to protect Canadians and keep drugs out of our communities. Wow. Last week it was something, and the week before that it was meth. Man, those drugs are certainly coming out of Mexico, aren't they?
Yeah, but open the borders, right?
Yeah, open the borders, because nothing's going to happen. Now, this was really serious for some drivers out in Del Mar, California this week. A small airplane made an emergency landing on the interstate highway north of San Diego on Tuesday, August 24, clipping cars, slightly injuring some people and causing a huge traffic jam. Like there's not enough traffic out there already. The single-engine Piper PA-32 has mechanical problems. After taking off in the Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport and was trying to land in a Negro field, but instead went down in the southbound lanes on Interstate 5 near Del Mar shortly after noon. Authorities said it clipped several cars and came to rest partly on the center divider. 2 people in the cars were taken to a hospital for treatment of minor injuries, including slight cuts from broken glass, according to the California Highway Patrol. The 2 people aboard the plane appeared to be unhurt, the CHP said. Dane and Sarah Tribbett of Austin, Texas, were in town to celebrate their 8th wedding anniversary when the Kia sedan was hit by the plane, although they did escape serious injuries. Glass was shattered everywhere. All of a sudden, we just see the plane in front of us. Sarah said they were scared out of their minds. I probably would too if I'm driving down the highway, there's a plane coming at me. The people who were driving behind us drove by us after and let us know they literally landed on top of our car. There was jet fuel all over the back of our back seat. All my clothes were soaked, and there's just glass everywhere. Part of the plane's right wing broke off and became lodged in back of an Audi SUV. The freeway was shut down for 4 hours, used until a small fuel spill was cleaned up, and the plane was hauled away. And they said that there was some very kind drivers that actually ended up helping block the highway for the chip patrols. Thank you, drivers. I'm glad everybody was safe, but it really doesn't tell us. I guess the pilot was okay. It doesn't really tell us too much about him. Our other news. Oklahoma City. We love this one. Love Travel Start has launched a fundraising campaign to benefit more than 110 children's miracle network hospitals all throughout the U.S. From August 26th through September 30th, customers can donate at any Love's Travel Stop country store, Truck Care, Love's owned hotel, and participating Speedco locations. Love is honored to continue its partnership with CM and hospitals to help kids who need medical treatment in the communities, where our team members work and live across the country, said Jenny Love Meyer, Chief Culture Officer and Executive Vice President of Loves. As times continue to be difficult for many people, these funds will ease the burden for caregivers and help kids improve their health. To donate, customers can purchase a paper balloon for $1, $5, $10, or $20, or they can round up the change to the nearest dollar at the register. In addition, stores will safely hold raffles and fundraisers and sell CMN hospital merchandise such as teddy bears and golf towels, etc. To celebrate National Coffee Day on September 29th, customers may purchase any size coffee for $1 using the Loves Connect app. All proceeds on that day will go to CMN hospitals. Children Medical Net Hospitals are one of the front lines when it comes to protecting the health of future generations, said Terry Tesler, President and CEO in CMN Hospitals, that they can do it, they can't do it alone. Without the help of caring partners like Loves, Travel Stops, children will face significant impacts in the short term and long term. Each dollar raised can change the kids' health and change the future for each community our members' hospital serves. CMN hospitals raise funds and awareness for 170 member hospitals that provide 32 million treatments annually to kids across the U.S. and Canada. Donations stay local to fund hospitals in each community. So if you drivers are out there you go. You can have time. You can get your coffee on the 29th. So it should be a good time. So stop at Loves. How many Loves do they have now? Do they have a lot?
I don't know the answer to that, but yeah, they do seem to have quite a lot. They've grown significantly.
I didn't know Speedco was part of those. You know?
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
What do you mean they were Speedco? You talking about the oil changes?
You know, Speedco gas stations are part of Loves.
All right.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either, apparently.
Out in Fremont, Nebraska last week was pretty interesting. They had what was it? The Nebraska Trucking Association went down to the middle schools into the elementaries. They think this is a great way to bring awareness of the trucker shortage, which I'm not sure why that would happen with elementary or middle school kids, but
targeting
the kids.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, the kids had a great time. They sent the kids out in groups of 100, and they were being talked to by everybody. They had a lot of trucks there, obviously, because you know trucking is the #1 job on the list for projected openings. There's like 3,000 and some projected openings in the trucking and transportation industry, but these kids are a little on the young side. Warner was there. Contract carriers was there. Premium contract carriers had their trucks there. Hills Brothers Transportation, Greater Omaha Express, and Warner Express. Warner brought their Operation Freedom truck out that's just dedicated to veterans from all different branches. It's also a good opportunity to put them on display with kids of all things considered. Brian Shirley, who has driven about 3 million miles for Warner during his 30 years, one of the drivers taking part in this FMS tour. He said they showed them the inside, showed them where they slept, how they work, how they drive. He explained all the electronics, how many computers are in the truck, the brake systems, the airbag systems. He said, we talked about everything. Blind sides, park, everything. He said the kids were very, very interested. So I think that was kind of interesting for them to do something like that. Some of those kids will remember that, some will like it, some probably know people that are drivers, so that's quite a thing to do for that. We had some sad news that Sean reminded me. Ed Asner passed away. Ed Asner, if everybody knows, was on the Mary Tyler Moore. He was just starred in Frank and Gracie on Netflix. He was 91 years old. I was surprised to hear that, honestly. I kind of thought he was gone a long time ago, but so. I guess they just built a new Loves in Granite City, or is being built. That's pretty cool. Loves is, I guess, is pretty big. Now, a couple other things we have going on tonight, and I'm sure you all know about what's going on in a lot of countries, or you don't know. There is going to be a driver shutdown on August 31st. I know it's really short news. Some drivers will be able to do it. Some drivers won't be able to do it. They're calling the shutdown in solidarity with Australia because Australia's truck drivers, doctors, nurses, and school teachers are all walking out on Tuesday to protest the mandates. Australia is still in extreme lockdown. They're tired of it. They want it to be done, just like most of us here want it to be done. We're hoping they're not going to start mandating stuff, but if you listen to Dr. Fauci, it's going to keep happening. First he says we're going to be out of this by spring of 2022, but if everybody doesn't get shots, it's not going to happen. Now he wants them to work on a vaccine that we can give to our toddlers and to our young children, because they're the ones they think might be carrying it. Now, I mean, I don't know. This guy is like, someone's got to do something. There's got to be more than this one guy.
You know, the thing about it is what's going on in Australia is atrocious. You were talking about it earlier, Dave, to me, where people aren't even allowed to leave their homes.
No, people
they take
cannot.
the trash
No.
out, they get fined.
Nope, they can't leave their homes. They can't leave a certain area. There's just very, very essential workers are out. I don't know how they're getting their food. It's just not really putting it out there.
I have seen videos people shared with me where they were attacking people
Yeah,
in the street
yes,
and
the
forcing
cops,
the
yeah.
injections into them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
No.
holy crap, dude, this is Gestapo shit.
It is. It's terrible, and there's absolutely no need of this. You know, I'm very laxed on it because I have something about the COVID. You know, when COVID vaccines were first announced, most of us probably assumed it was going to be a good thing. I mean, life could return to, we all thought life would return to normal, which is supposedly viable vaccine available. People who wanted to be protected from this novel virus could find comfort. Case and death rates would drop, mask and ridiculous mandates would become obsolete, and social distancing and lockdowns would be a thing of the past. Wow. And yet, here we are, 10 months later, after the first vaccine was announced. We're no closer to that at all. Such case numbers went down for a time, and the death rate was certainly dropped, and mask mates and most lockdowns did actually end, at least initially, but as the numbers of vaccinated Americans increased, it seems that all those gains and all those signs of possible return to normal were just part of a phase. Thanks to the new Delta variant of this virus and the seeming ineffectiveness of the vaccine, case numbers are soaring again, and masks are being required in public indoor settings of every kind, and that's regardless if you're vaccinated or not. In fact, according to data from the CDC, which is, you know, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 1,500 fully vaccinated individuals have now died from COVID in recent weeks, and thousands more have been infected. So quite naturally, liberal businesses, cities and states are now requiring vaccine passports or proof of your vaccination status, as well as a valid ID to enter some establishments such as restaurants, bars, sporting events, blah, 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 and other public venues. Note, these are the very same people who said that they also who say that requiring an ID to vote is racist. You want me to carry a little card with a vaccine saying I got a damn shot, but you don't want me to carry a card to go vote. I don't know. This is how messed up right now our government is. We won't even get to the rest of the stuff, but now in addition to being with this, you know, they're telling you now you need another shot. So guess what, people? You better get in line to get that next shot, because who knows how many you're going to need after that. So beginning September 20th, most adults, it will be available for you to get your third shot. So apparently the effects of the original vaccines are not lifelong, or apparently even long-lasting. According now to the White House, the available data makes clearly the protection against SARS-CoV-2 infection begins to decrease over time following the initial dose of that. Well, I read an article coming out of Japan, and another article, what state was that? It was over in Europe. Another one, they said the same thing. They seem to think that people who have had COVID do not need to be vaccinated because they carry the immunity for that. So, check with your doctor. Some of us have had COVID. We might be pretty much safe. Because standing in line for shots, I don't think that's happening for me too much. You know. But you know, both companies, Pfizer and Moderna, backed this. They're looking forward to this. Because back even in May, Pfizer's CEO stated that according to their data, a booster shot would most likely be needed as soon as between 8 and 12 months, which September falls into. Likewise, Moderna has made a similar statement. And right on cue, Biden's COVID Nazi Dr. Anthony Fauci, I was going to say something really bad, but I didn't, jumped on board during the same time, saying that a booster would be needed within a year of getting your primary shot. I didn't even know it was supposed to be a primary. I thought when you get a vaccine, it's supposed to take care of you. It's supposed to get other more shots. Now, it shouldn't really be a surprise that they want to keep this vaccine gravy train rolling. I mean, throughout the whole process, Democratic leaders like Biden, New York Mayor, pothead Bill de Blasio, Governor California Newsom, and countless others who have managed to seize onto near unlimited power. They've been given emergency, powers, enacted laws to change things, to make them put Americans lose their jobs, everything. It's just been horrible for people. So, but if people don't realize, in 2021, Pfizer is expected, this is what kills me, to haul in a whopping $33.5 billion on just the COVID-19 vaccine, putting their fiscal year totals at somewhere near $78 billion to $8 billion if all goes as planned. And a third vaccine shot would only boost those numbers. That is totally incredible, and they have what's that type of immunity? They can't be sued.
Immunity?
Yes, they can't be sued if your loved one or spouse dies or has any accidents from them at all. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, they do have an exemption for being sued. It's not
Yeah.
immunity. It's you're thinking of something sovereign immunity.
Sovereign
probably.
immunity.
But that's government. No, but the government did give them in the legislative process the exemption that they cannot be sued, and there's a method in which a government compensates people who have adverse effects to such things as COVID-19 vaccines.
Well, that might be me, because I can't take it,
I'm not taking it. They can kiss my white ass.
and I'm not doing this other crap too, So, I mean, it's just too much, people. Now, I can't, never mind having one shot, never mind having 2 more shots, or 3 more shots, or how many, it's like, when's it gonna stop? Besides, why am I gonna put something in my body that they don't even know about? Or what bothers me is, why would you give it to your kids? Because we don't know. And I know people are COVID phobia or whatever, or now instead of being racist, we're not racist anymore. It's you're vaxxed or you're unvaxxed. We talked about that last week. I don't really have to talk about it again, but it's kind of silly. The whole thing is silly, especially right now. And we want to send our condolences out to Mr. Gary Shaw. He had lost his wife this week, so we want to send him some condolences. He was with us down at Black and Blue the first time we all went to Washington. Pretty funny guy. I mean, my condolences go out to him. And my next one I wanted to talk about was, there's a lot of calls for impeaching Biden, but I don't know. If we impeach Biden, we end up with Harris, who is 100 times worse than Biden. So, and then if you get rid of Harris and Biden, we end up with Pelosi. Oh my God, that's even this is like nightmares.
How do you ascertain that they're not going to come after you and try to impeach you while you're president? You find a running mate that's worse than you are.
I don't know. I don't know, but the funny thing about Pelosi is, like, she is in Congress and she's going to fine people. I want people arrested for not wearing their mask. And she's telling the Capitol Police, you start arresting people for not wearing the mask. Well, the funny part was, this is how dumb Pelosi is, she decides to have a big Democratic fundraising party out at her place in California. Now, there's a whole video going around, and you can see this for yourself. She has, two big long tables set up, and everybody's sitting next to each other, and they get all nice and fancy. Now, not one of them has a mask on, including her. The only ones who have masks on are the black waiters and waitresses. I just thought that was like, okay. You're talking about finding everybody in Washington. Yeah. Okay.
But only that only applies if you're in.
Well,
the
you know, if
building.
Obama can have a party, John, with 600 people, and we all couldn't, and we weren't supposed to, you know, it was against the law for us to go out, and he's having this big party, and Fauci's out there criticizing because motorcycle people are going to Sturgis, and, you know, what's wrong with them, they should know better, yada, yada, yada. You know, all your little school children, put those masks on those little children, you know, get people vaccinated, everybody hurry up. But Obama can have a party.
Of course. He's an elitist. He's
Well,
in the upper class.
Yeah, and I guess,
COVID don't affect them.
yeah, I guess COVID doesn't affect them. You know? I mean, really. Isn't that unbelievable?
It is, actually. It's insulting is what it is.
And
you know.
people fall for this shit. And that's what bothers me the most. They fall into this. You know? It's terrible.
Well, they scare people.
Yeah,
They're
it is. It's
basically
scare
leadership.
tactics.
They scare
And
people
I've seen
like
that.
They don't know what to do.
And they scare the elderly a lot because they, you know, elderly and young people are really prone to stuff like that. You know? And I was, before we get to Afghanistan, there was this other thing that I was looking at this week. It made me crack up laughing. A lot of people are, you know, are really getting excited at the thought of Nancy Pelosi's nephew, which is, if you don't know, is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Wow, isn't that surprising? Huh? What do you think of that?
All in the family.
All in the family. You know, they thought that he's going to be tossed out of California's governor of office on September 14th. That's the date of the recall election in California. And it looks like the Libertarian talk show host, Larry Elder, is posed to win the winner-take-all replacement vote for Pelosi's nephew, if the recall is successful. Well, this is going to be interesting to see, because what happened, either way, it's going to get a lot of buzz from conservative media outlet right now, despite the fact that he is a massive flip-flopper who has stabbed Donald Trump in the back almost as many times as the phony Ohio hillbilly J.D. Vance, who's running for Senate in that next state. Well, either way, I'm just not confident that Nancy Pelosi can lose the recall election. Let's just say too much fraud in the one-party estate of California. Here are two very recent and relevant examples. There was a fascinating arrest in the city of Torrance a few days ago in the suburb of Los Angeles, located in the southern part of LA County. Police caught a convicted felon passed out behind the wheel of his car at a 7-Eleven. He had a loaded handgun in the car, a bunch of methamphetamines and Xanax, a set of drug scales, and a bunch of California driver's license and credit cards. But there was another thing the cops found in this guy's back seat that was really eye-opening. The suspect had 300 unopened mail-in ballots for the recall. Isn't that something? How did he get those, I wonder?
He was just holding on to them, you know,
Two more
keeping them safe.
Yep, two more curious things. First, the Torrance police chief was quick to squeech the media that there is no evidence that this case was in any way any attempt to sway the results of the recall election. This guy probably had 300 unopened ballots in his car because he was using them for toilet paper or tissues. I mean, you know, sometimes you gotta blow your nose. You know how you just look through somewhere in your car to blow your nose? I mean...
You know, it might have been kind of cool at night. You would burning them to keep themselves
Well,
warm.
that could be
Can't
it
find
too.
a better use for ballots.
But
than
they're
burn 'em.
actually official voting ballots. So, do you think our elections are safe? And they wanna repeal, like all that Jim Crow law and all that, and now they have this new name that they don't need to have an ID to vote. I don't get it. The same day, the second curious thing about this guy was, the police have not released his name. That's very curious. Who does he work for? The post office? The Democrat Party? The campaign of Nancy Pelosi's nephew? Jeez, I kinda like to know who he works for. The same day that Torrance police were arresting that group, the LA County Sheriff was arresting a member of the Compton City Council, which is 20-minute drive from Torrance. They arrested Isaac Galvin, and he's a Compton City Councilman, charged with election fraud, bribery, and conspiring with others to commit election fraud. Galvin won the election in April 2020 for his seat on the council by a vote of 855 votes to 854, and a single vote separated these two. 5 other people were also arrested along with Galvin for allegedly helping to rig the election in his favors. So there we have 2 separate arrests on the same day related to vote rigging and election fraud in towns just minutes apart from each other in LA. The city of Compton is really fascinating, by the way. If you start to dig into the 2020 numbers, a lot of the cities in Democrat-controlled areas in California, this is why I'm not participating. This is why I'm not particularly excited about the upcoming recall election. The team of Nancy Pelosi's nephew are the ones doing this. Compton has a population of 94,000 people, and as of 2020, according to the census, has 47,860 registered voters in November. You can find this if you go to Compton on that, okay? But in this last election, last November, Compton recorded 206,000 votes. Yeah, with only 47,000 people registered to vote. How does that work? How does that work out, folks?
That's part of that Common Core math.
Yeah, that's what it is, Common Core math. And they're telling us our elections aren't win. They're telling us you don't have to have an ID, but I just went to the doctors the other day. I had to show them my ID. I had to go pick up some medicine for my dog at the vet's. I had to show them my ID. I have to have a school ID for me to get into the school to say that I'm a staff member. I need an ID. I need an ID if I want to buy liquor. Because I don't get asked that much anymore. Must be the white hair, huh, John?
Probably.
I don't know, people. You gotta get out there. You gotta make your voices heard. You gotta call your congressman. You gotta call your senators. You've got to call us. Right now, it's going to the Senate House. We can't let them pass that $1 trillion bill with all this stuff. And if people took a minute and read some of those pages, they kept telling us they're going to cut taxes for the rich. They are not. It's not even in there.
It's going to take more than a minute to read it.
Yeah, it's going to take. Yeah, I hope that gets held up for a long time. It might. So, I can't even fathom to think what's going to happen. I want to take a minute to give our condolences to all the family and friends of those soldiers that lost their lives over in Afghanistan. It is absolutely disgusting. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that how this is going down, how it's still going down. This reminds me of when Vice President Biden, when he was vice president, with the Benghazi issue. I can't believe people voted for this guy. I just can't believe it. We know they want the third world order. We get that. We understand that. But America, I know we had Trump there. It was always America first. Right now, it's not. Nothing for Americans. I don't even know what to say.
Now,
This
it's
is really terrible. they flew in, I read 27,000 people from Afghanistan already. 22,000 were non-Americans. Figure that out. How does that happen? And they're not vetted. But it's funny, when they were going into the airport, they were told to bring their IDs with them, right? Remember that, John?
No.
IDs and their papers for them to get onto the planes, for the Americans to get onto the planes. They needed their IDs and papers, but we don't need an ID to vote. I don't get it. I just must be stupid. I don't know. I'm just supposed to be stupid to think, oh my God, I should believe everything they have to say.
It doesn't
Hey
take a
Chad, hey
genius.
Jason, hey Rosemary.
Doesn't take a genius to figure out that they're cheating, you
Yeah,
know, and
they're
that's what
cheating.
it's all about. It's to make it easier for them to cheat.
Well, now with all these illegal aliens, we can just have them go anywhere and vote in any town, any city in any town in America. You can vote. You know, people used to say, well, college kids should vote when they're going to college. You know, when I went to college, if somebody was from out of state, they got an out-of-state ballot. They didn't vote in that state. They weren't allowed to vote in that state. And 9 times out of 10, most of the college kids didn't want to vote. They were too busy, you know, drinking. You know, having fun.
They have better
Mom and
things
dad
to
aren't
do.
mom and dad aren't there. We can really have a great time. So that was that. Obviously, we have no call in from Baby Doll or Miss Patty because they are really out there having some fun, which is okay.
They're playing in hurricanes.
I know. They shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But
Although Baby Doll forgot her hat.
she took her other one. She took her orange hat with her.
Oh,
She
so
uses-
she could be seen in the rain?
Yeah, 'cause she figures that's her hat for safety. So she's out there doing that. Actually, this is really funny. There is a new broom called Witches Brew out there, and it's supposed to really clean your house and do all kinds of weird stuff. And I was looking at it and going, where do these people come up with these ideas? This was really weird. I was like, oh, okay. So, what else was going on this week in the trucking world?
What else
You
is
know,
going
yeah,
on?
I know there's a lot of scuttle about the shutdown. I don't know how many drivers will actually shut down. It's really short notice. I would like to do something in solidarity, but I know the teachers aren't going to do that. That they're just not going to do that. In fact, I saw something that was very disturbing to me, and if this comes up into our union, I will actually be letting them have a piece of my mind. Because there was a teacher, and they wouldn't tell us where she was from. She decided that the American flag makes her uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable having the American flag in her classroom, which is publicly funded. She gets paid by the people in her town. It's public funding and federal funding. But she was uncomfortable. So she decided to take the flag down, and instead, she put up the LBGT2 plus flag, whatever. And then she says she has the kids stand up and say the pledge to that. Now, how would you like if your kids were in that girl's classroom?
How did that pledge go exactly?
I don't know.
Did
But
they just replace America with the gay community? I mean, what's going on?
I can't even tell you. I mean, I was so upset when I saw that. You know, you just get tired of this stuff all the time, in your face, all the time. I don't care what somebody else, I don't care who sleeps with who, I don't care any of that. But these are our kids. Let them grow up. You know, let them learn life along. But you know, you can't say, okay kids, let's stand up, we're gonna say a prayer. I would be fired. You can take a moment of silence. So, I don't know, it just gets crazier and crazier every day, you know, and then when you hear people saying, let's defund the police. Well, you know, if you know anything about what's going on in Portland now has completely been turned over to Antifa. So So they are Antifa and the Proud Boys. Last Friday night had a huge skirmish in the streets, and the bystanders, their houses are getting, fire bombs on them. There's gunshots going out, whatever. And they call the police, and the police say, "I'm sorry, we're not allowed to go in there anymore." I don't even know how I would react to that. If someone told me, "Sorry, the police can't go in there anymore because they just can't."
Well,
It's ridiculous.
Oh, that's why you have your second A rights to begin with. I mean,
I know.
Cops are good and fine and all, but how fast can they answer a call? You dial 911, you say, "This guy's about to murder me." How fast do you think they're going to be there? Not fast enough before you're dead. People need to learn to protect themselves. If you're not willing to get up and protect yourself, then who is?
I know. It's
you're
terrible.
asking about the trucker shutdown. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it something that we should be doing? Will it be effective? If anybody's listening to what you're saying, Tracy, you're giving them every reason why they should be thinking about it.
Well, of course.
These things come in stages, so we have this one gets called. We'll see how many people participate and how many people get motivated from their participation. This is what happened in Operation Black and Blue in ELDRME.
Yes, I know.
In 2017, we went there, and word was still getting out while we were there, and we got some media attention. We got some Overdrive magazine covered us.
Yep.
So a lot of people were inspired by what they saw. A lot of people were inspired by what happened. And it created some unity within this industry. It created a little bit stronger brotherhood. A lot of people got motivated and said, "I want to do that too." And you see these uprisings, and next people coming, and other people coming, and groups of people coming. As long as they don't get tired of it, as long as they don't fall out, then it keeps expanding and it keeps growing. So yeah, this trucker shutdown should be interesting. I'm kind of interested to see just how many people participate in this. And it'll be interesting from there to see about the next time we decide to shut down. But at some point in time, we got to gain that momentum and stand up for the right reasons. However, I do feel that we need to organize it a little bit. It needs to be a little bit more strong
that's
in
the
the
thing.
organization of it. Because somebody's got to convey the message to Congress, and as long as nobody's getting the message to Congress, they're going to be shrugging their shoulders, go, "We didn't even know what was happening. We didn't know what was going on." They'll always excuse themselves if you allow them to.
Well, that is true, because we've seen this so many times. I've seen so many groups come forth, and we're going to make changes. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. This, blah, 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 blah. Give us donations, blah, blah, blah. Nothing comes of it. It's really sad.
Well, there's that. We've always had in trucking, so especially since deregulation has drawn the biggest charlatans to the industry. We've had people double broker. We've had people get into this industry and just rip drivers off left and right. It's been horrible. The lease purchase programs have been scams, not all of them, but a good majority or quite a bit of them. I remember back in the 80s when deregulation first came about. I was a young kid back then, and I remember some scams coming about. We'll sell you that truck driver. We'll sell it to you. We'll take so much out of your check every week, and yada yada yada.
Yep.
But you never got it because they'd always have some sort of thing where maintenance here, maintenance there,
Yep.
put it on the backside of your loan, and you just never got the truck. It was that carrot they dangled in front of your face time and time again to keep you motivated, keep you running, keep you away from your family, so you work hard for them, so they can afford to drive that Mercedes Benz while you just ate out of a can every night.
Oh, that is true. That is true. It's just tough. We'll see what happens. We'll have to keep an eye on what's going on with that, And I was also just shocked over about with Afghanistan. Maybe we can on Wednesday nights everybody tune in to WSMN, Common Sense Conservatives, with John and Ted and Todd. Why do I keep calling him Ted?
I don't know.
That's terrible. I'm sorry, Ted. I love
You
Ted.
just called him Ted again.
I know, I did it again. Todd, I'm really sorry. Oh my God. I must have a mental block or something there, but they have a really good show, and Colonel Chris Wyatt's on there, and we had an interesting show because, in New Hampshire we have our senator race coming up, and it's really strange how, for a few years we're writing to our senators and we're doing this and we're doing that, no report, no call, no this, no that. All of a sudden, my email, I have like 3 different times, oh, I'm sorry we missed your call. Could you call us back? What would you like? What would you like to talk about? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Oh, you're running again. Oh, that's why you want to talk now. Now they want to talk. Now they want to be on.
Gain some interest.
Yeah, now they want to. And I did send a question off, and I'm saying, all that money, all that ammunition, and those tanks, and the helicopters, and everything that we left in Afghanistan, who's going to pay the American people back for that?
I don't understand that. I don't understand.
You know,
That's
I
a lot
wanted
of
to
money
buy
sitting
bullets.
there.
I wanted to buy some bullets, okay, because we have our own guns and stuff. But we can't get bullets, but we just left all our ammo over there. What the hell is with that? That's what I would say. What the hell is with that?
It don't make any sense. How much does it cost logistically to move that to a
And they
neighboring
knew
country,
that.
to an
And
allied
but
country?
they knew they had that. This stuff had to go. They knew this months ago. Why weren't they moving it?
According to Trump, that was part of his plan.
Well, anyway, so we're up on the hour. It's time for us to go. I am just in shock. I hope everybody has a really good week. Let's hope that we don't have any terrorist attack over here, because God knows, we better start praying. Let's pray that we have someone come back to be an actual, we need a president, and we need a vice president. Since our vice president thinks everything is funny, every time she has an interview, she laughs. Afghanistan, ha 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 ha. Really? This is what we're stuck with? Well, the 25% of America likes these two. The rest of us, not so much.
We're stuck with it.
We're stuck. And all we can do is keep praying. We're supposed to say that anymore, but we keep praying. God, please help America. God bless America. Guys, if you're down in Louisiana, please take care of yourselves with all that hurricane coming in if you're driving in that area. And America, start stocking up because things are going to get short. That's all we can say about that tonight. Remember, believe in America, not the media. Good night. Thank you for listening. Welcome.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Go down and have some dinner, honey?
Yeah.
I just had some of my black bean soup and I had a tomato sandwich. I know you wouldn't like that, but fresh from the garden tomato tastes so different.
Yeah.
I mean, it really tastes different. Joy kept calling me. I would do a radio show,